What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and this week's sponsorship is from Newsly. Newsly is a all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and read them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in ever on the internet, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from topic you choose, start playing, start scrolling, and start listening. You can follow any topics as you specifically as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, even for the Kardashians. It will find you on the latest article and you read them to you out loud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, MrGentleman Like That podcast, is on there as well. Yes, it is. Shout out to Newsly for that. I started using it as my default podcast app. Download and use Newsly for free from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description. Use the promo code MrGentleman that I will also put in the description and receive 1 month free premium subscription. So you already know, y'all. Download Newsly now. Check it out. Support them, y'all. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and enjoy the show. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 6. True! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Boy Podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And y'all, I'm back from a 2-week break. But I just want to say thank you, everybody that been keep listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, even though I did not put out a new episode. So I appreciate each and every one of y'all that continue to support the show. And thank you for making season 6 a really, really good season. So once again, I thank y'all for continue to check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. So let's talk about today's episode. So today's episode, I will be discussing about fears and anxiety. Basically about, social anxiety and my experience with anxiety. Even though I spoke about this topic before during the pandemic episode, but this is basically more focused on the anxiety that I've been dealing with and stuff like that. So y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
This is Graham,
Sarah,
and Michaela
from the Chime In Podcast.
And you're listening to
MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I will be giving y'all the MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, you have to go through no's before you get that yes. And what I'm saying is, in life, we all get rejected. Sometimes we don't get the person that we end up with. We don't get the dream job that we want. But being rejected don't always mean giving up. So all you have to do is just keep trying until you get that yes. And that is today, MrGentleman Facts, quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman of MrGentleman Like That Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Like That Podcast, where we bring many guests telling about their stories about their brand they got going on. Also about me telling y'all my personal stories about things that are going on in my life. Also, we have many spin-off shows on MrGentleman Like That Podcast called The Old School Show, with myself and the Star Writing Rod, where we talk anything old school, which happen every 4th or 5th Sunday at 12 a.m. on the MrGentleman Like That Podcast Network. And another spin-off show called A Conversation About Music Podcast, where we talk to many artists about their music journey. And also we have a roundtable music discussion about anything music, and which should come on every first Sunday at 12 a.m. on MrGentleman Like That Podcast Network. And yeah, you already know, if y'all need a podcast to listen to, check out MrGentleman Like That Podcast. We're on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Good Pod, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Good Pod, Podchaser, and Apple Podcasts. You know, the more y'all rate, the more love the show get. Y'all can also check it out on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube now. Ken, aka MrGentleman Like That TV. And also support the website of MrGentleman Like That Podcast, MrGentlemanLikeThatPodcast.com. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and have a good day, night, wherever you're listening to this episode. Back to the show. Cheers!
Hi, my name is Vaughn Ovello, and you're listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, it's time for the main event topic. And this topic we are discussing is fear and anxiety. And I'm not going to lie, this is going to be a little bit personal. And this was a hard topic to discuss, but I wanted to share this with you just in case somebody else is dealing with anxiety, depression, suicide thoughts, and many more. Hopefully, me opening up about it could help open up somebody else about it, and they could be open to tell their story so they could be inspiring to others. And I know I spoke about anxiety during my COVID journey episode, but I'm going to give a little bit more deep dive of it. So first thing first, what is fear? And fear is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. And we all have fears, you know, as much as we don't want to admit it, because we all meant to stay strong. But we all have fears, and sometimes some fears is hard to face. And I got a few fears myself. One of them is falling in love and getting hurt. Meaning falling in love with somebody just so they can get hurt. Whether it's to leave you at the altar, whether it's to break up with you because they fall in love with somebody else, or when they fall out of love, or even when they divorce you when you're married. Stuff like that, you know, kind of freak me out. Because, you know, I've been in many relationships, and a lot of them, I've been hurt. And honestly, it's hard for me these days to trust and put myself out there, even though I wanted to get myself out there. But sometimes it's really hard when you dealt with a lot of heartbreak. But, you know, eventually I will get myself out there. Because sometimes some fears are meant to be faced. Another one of my fears is death. It's pretty much dying before my time. And I'm not gonna hold you. Honestly, my whole life, this one freaked me out. Because sometimes we just never know Sometimes you hear one day and you are going the next. And honestly, that freaked me out because I don't want to leave when I haven't fulfilled my purpose or I haven't fulfilled what I was meant to be here for. But also seeing somebody else I care about, dying, family or friends, especially close family or friends. As some of y'all probably know, because I spoke up a little bit, I posted on social media that, a family member passed away recently. And, it kind of messed up my head a little bit. But it's really, honestly, death in general is really hard when it comes to somebody that you really care about. And yeah, so, those are my fears. So now, let's talk about anxiety. So, I had anxiety in March. I officially had anxiety in March of 2020. But honestly, if you want me to be honest with y'all, I feel like I always had it since I was a kid. More likely of social anxiety. And I say this is like, there have been times where I can never stare at people in the face. I don't know why, but I can never stare at people in the face. When I feel like people are staring at me, I always seem to look away. And I never knew why I did that. Sometimes it's hard for me to have a conversation with a stranger. And I don't know, I can't just come up to a stranger and just talk to them. Let alone come up to a woman who I think is beautiful and talk to her. Because in the back of my mind, I think that she gonna look at me and like, oh, this guy is ugly. Oh, he not my type. Oh, why is a stranger talking to me? I can't do that, And with you, all your life being bullied because of your speech, and it caused to hurt your confidence a lot. And it caused you to think a lot of negative things about yourself. Which one thing anxiety does is you are too much in your head and you think about too much negative things, And honestly, that happened with me from a kid and even an adult now still, Also, speaking in public, especially when I was younger, it was really hard for me to speak in public or speak in a big group. Because no matter what, I would choke, I would stutter, and everything. And it was really hard, and then I ended up being embarrassed behind that. And, and it's hard. It's hard dealing with it as a kid without actually even knowing what it was. Because I feel like I was dealing with anxiety, social anxiety, and I didn't know what it was. I always felt like something was wrong with me. I'm not going to hold you. I always felt like something was wrong with me. Until, I got older and started to really understand what it was. And of course, as an adult, I dealt with some parts of social anxiety, not as much as I did as a kid. I do have speech problems now, but you won't notice it unless I'm speaking fast or when I'm really nervous. Y'all probably listening to some parts of the show where y'all can't hear it, but sometimes y'all probably could hear it when I'm speaking really fast. And also, people always ask me that, oh, you're a promoter. How come you have anxiety? How come you're so shy and you're a promoter? Well, there's one way you could deal with that while being a promoter, and one thing that deal with that, which is not even a good way to deal with it, is drinking. And the majority of my promoters run, most of my promoters run, I say not all of it. Drinking helped me, be a little bit more confident with talking to people. Sometimes it's not always the right way to do it, but it helped me a lot. And sometimes I have to learn to do without it, and I have. It's just like how now that when I started doing the podcast show, I was afraid to get on other people's platform because I was nervous with what everybody is going to think about me, or I'm nervous about if I'm going to mess up on the platform, or I'm nervous about if I wasn't good enough. And that's one thing that always bothered me, even to this day. Dealing with anxiety, and you never feel like you are good enough. That's why I always try my best to be the best version of myself. Try my best to do as many things just so I could fulfill that space. And that was really hard. You feel like you let a lot of people down, when in reality people could be proud of you, and you thinking you let people down because you not feel like you at the best version of yourself because you're dealing with anxiety or depression or any type of mental health. And that's, and I hold it wasn't easy dealing with social anxiety, but it got even more harder in March of 2020 when I actually was diagnosed with anxiety. And when I found out I did have anxiety, well, y'all already know, I've told this story many times on the show, but I don't mind telling it again for all the new listeners. So, it was the beginning of the pandemic. We wasn't exactly shut down yet, but we was on that verge of getting shut down that week. And one day, I was sleeping because my throat was acting up, and I keep hearing the news about Corona coming to New York, and people started dying from it. And I was nervous because my throat was acting up, and sore throat was one of the symptoms of coronavirus. So next thing you know, I was doing things to figure out a way to get rid of it, gargling and stuff like that, and stuff like that. And then it felt like things were getting worse. Next thing I know, out of nowhere, my chest started closing off, and I started getting nervous. Next thing I know, my heartbeat is beating fast. I couldn't stop moving. I couldn't lay down. My body was sore, as in like muscle tension, and I started freaking out. Honestly, I thought I was having a heart attack. This was going on from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. It turns out I was having a panic attack. Anxiety attack led into a panic attack, and I just kept freaking out. And I did not know what was going on. So next thing you know, I went to the doctor, and they told me you were just having an anxiety attack. You got anxiety. So next thing you know, they gave me medicine to calm down the anxiety. And honestly, the medicine did not work. And the medicine made me worse. It made me having a panic attack from the next 2 weeks until I decided to get myself off the medicine. And I started just doing things my way to get slowly better. So once, everything was cleared off, I went to the doctor, to get a regular checkup and stuff like that. And they told me that I was officially diagnosed with anxiety. General anxiety, common anxiety. I started getting symptoms. I started getting acid reflux. I started getting muscle tension, which was one of my main anxiety symptoms that I deal with. Having an increased heart rate, rapid breathing, sweating, and many more. And I'm not gonna hold you, it was a lot, when I first was dealing with that, because I didn't know what it was. And when I was dealing with that, I felt like I wasn't myself. I felt like I was nervous all the time. I felt like I was lost. I was also going through depression. And I developed a phobia of going out. So I ended up not going out because I was freaking, I was, scared. And, and that was a lot and stuff like that. Then 3 months later, which I never told this story, I ended up having another, slight panic attack, or anxiety attack. I'll say anxiety, really panic, anxiety attack. When I went to the doctor, I was having a normal checkup, just normal, everything normal, having a normal day, stuff like that. And out of nowhere, the doctor said, your heart rate is abnormal. You gotta go to the hospital for more tests. And I was like, what? So I went to the hospital to get more tests on my EKG. And, it turns out they saying that you're just having an anxiety attack. And so they gave me more information about it. And I just need to learn how to calm down and just do things to, keep me calm. Because I'm not gonna lie, since having anxiety, even many things that have been happening, I've been lashing out more. I've been angry. It's been many things, and it was hard to get myself back to that place, especially around that time. And even now, I'm even more better because clearly, I'm telling y'all my story. So I slowly, back to where I'm slowly getting back to where I was. It was a hard journey. And I just wanted to share this with y'all because if anybody is going through something like this, it's okay. You can tell your story because you don't know who you helping. You don't know who you helping because it might be more people who need to know that who going through the same thing. Because I just want to let you know that you're not alone. I just want to let you know that you are not alone. And what helped me with my anxiety during that time, it even do help me now. Of course, listen to music. I know people say listen to music in public with your headphones on in public is dangerous. Yeah, true. Especially around the time, there's a lot of dangerous things going on. But honestly, when I have my music in public, it actually helped me. It helped me, gave me an extra sixth sense and awareness around. And it just made me feel, it made me feel safe. I'm not even going to front. I know many people don't think that, but for me, it made me feel safe. And also my Nintendo Switch, during the pandemic when I was dealing with anxiety, Animal Crossing helped me with that. Because, that is like a relaxed game. And it helped me a lot. And also get a therapist, which is one of the biggest things. Because that helped me tremendously, not only with, everything I'm going through, but helped me with the show and everything else. Because honestly, while opening up, and it teaches me to open up to others now. It teaches me to open up to y'all, telling y'all this story. And teach me to slowly be the best version of myself and let me know that I am still human. This thing that I'm dealing with not going to define me. And yeah. And everybody, like I said, I just want to say this last thing. If you're going through something, it's okay to talk about it. Don't hold it in. You don't know who you're inspiring. So if you have a story to tell that story, because you don't know who you are inspiring. And hopefully, this episode inspired y'all in some kind of way. And hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. I'm MrGentleman like the podcast and the Premier Boy podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman like the podcast spin-off shows. And MrGentleman like the podcast has many spin-off shows, but we're gonna talk about this one fan favorite spin-off show called The Old School Show with myself and the star writer Rod, where we talk anything old school, from movies, music, TV shows, childhood memories, and many more. Love the show because of this nostalgic feel, and it's always been fun when we have many special guests come to the show. And if you want to check out this spin-off show, y'all can check it out every 4th and sometimes 5th Sunday at 12 a.m. Every 4th and sometimes 5th Sunday at 12 a.m. Also, we have another spin-off show called A Conversation About Music Podcast, where we talk to many unsigned artists about their music journey, and we play their song on the show, so many audience could know about their music. I wanted to create a platform from unsigned artists so they could come on the show, and so we could spread the word so everybody could take the the time to take out their music and stuff like that. Also on the show, we have many roundtable discussion about music. And if y'all want to check out this show, y'all can check it out every first Sunday at 12 a.m. Every first Sunday at 12 a.m. You can check out both spin-off shows on MrGentleman, like the Podcast Network. And of course, we have many more spin-off shows coming real soon. But you can check out the Old School Show and A Conversation About Music podcast right now. And this is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, from MrGentleman, like the Podcast. And have a good day or night wherever you're listening to this episode. Now back to the show. Chill! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in to this latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And y'all already know where I'm at every Sundays. MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast each and every Sunday at 12 a.m. We are on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podchases. The more y'all rate the show, the more people know about MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And don't forget, we also have the spin-off series of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents the Old School Show every 4th or 5th Sunday at 12 a.m. We are returning with the second half of season 2 of the Old School Show, December 18th. I repeat, December 18th. We are returning with new episode of the Old School Show. MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents A Conversation About Music podcast. Y'all can check out that spin-off series every first Sundays at 12 a.m. And we are returning with the new season of A Conversation About Music podcast, February 2023. So February 2023, new season of A Conversation About Music podcast. Every first Sundays. And MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B. New episode coming real soon. And check it out every first and fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first and fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Y'all can check out all 3 spin-off series of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on the MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Network. If you want to be a guest on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast or the spin-off series, y'all can send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, kenypgent@gmail.com, kenypgent@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_MrGentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken _Mr. MrGentleman, GentleMan. Add me on Good Pod, Ken MrGentleman. Y'all already know I love Good Pod. It catered to many independent podcasters. We could listen to each other's shows. We could rate each other's shows. And we have the charts. And at this time, I will be giving y'all the chart review for every chart that MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is a part of. And it's crazy that we had not been active for like 2 weeks. And we are due on the Good Pod charts. For Society and Culture, we are number 6. For Society and Culture, we are number 6. For Top 100 episodes, for Top 100 shows, we are number 30 and number 27 on the indie charts. And you already know that we definitely will get back up there. But I just thank you everybody that will continue to listen to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, even though we was on break for 2 weeks. And it didn't feel like 2 weeks, felt longer than I ain't gonna hold y'all. But thank y'all for keep listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Also, we are also on the top 100 episodes. The bonus episode, King Talk Interview MrGentleman Part 3, is actually number 75 on the number charts and number 88 on the indie charts. So, once again, thank y'all for keep listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And we are also on the Apple Podcast charts. number 165 for society and culture in Jamaica. So shout out to Jamaica for listening to the gentleman like that podcast, and thank y'all for continue to show love. And let's get back on the chart. Let's get back high on the chart. Let's get back to the number one spot. Where we belong. Shout out to all the other podcasters. They are doing an amazing thing. But with the gentleman back, it's time to get back on that top spot. so y'all check out the website of Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com. Y'all can check out every guest profile. Y'all can check out every episode of Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast. Y'all can check out every video from Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast. Y'all can check out every guest appearance that I've been on from Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast, which I am going to be on a couple more guests soon. Should be on, they will be definitely coming real soon. And another podcast show and a lot more projects. I got a lot more things coming up, and y'all go check it out on there. Y'all can also buy some merch from Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast with T Public. Is also on the website. The merch store is officially back open, so check it out and buy some merch, y'all. If y'all really want to support Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast, y'all can listen to the show. Y'all can share the show. Y'all can leave a donation on Twitter or Good Pods, or y'all can buy the merch through T Public. Do all y'all can to support Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast. It would mean a lot. But as long as y'all listening and get the message, that's all that's good for me, y'all. So let's continue to support Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast. And y'all already know I will be back with a new episode next Sunday at 12 a.m. And thank y'all for checking out this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Like The Podcast. Have a good day or night wherever you're listening to this episode.
My name is John Hoppy from the Wrestling Fans Inside Podcast, and you are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.